After I left her apartment that day, something changed inside me. Up until then, I'd been scared, confused, trying to rationalize, trying to find a mental health explanation, a neurological glitch, carbon monoxide, shared delusion, stress. But when I heard the knock inside the door, when I felt the cold radiating from wood like something was pressed against it from the other side, I understood something simple and terrible. This wasn't imagination, and it wasn't contained. Emily didn't answer my texts that night, or the next, or the next. 3 days passed in silence. Then, on December 31st, at 10:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Emily, I'm spending New Year's with him. My stomach turned. I called her instantly. No answer. I texted, "Stop this. I'm coming over." She replied immediately, "No. He wants it to be just us. Just us." The phrasing made my chest tighten. I typed, "Emily, please. This isn't funny anymore." 3 dots appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. Then, "Josh, you don't understand. Tonight is important." Another message followed before I could respond. He says midnight is when the door is thinnest. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't want to know. I called again. This time she answered on Discord, camera on, and I will never forget what I saw. Her apartment was almost completely dark. Not cozy dark, not romantic dark, wrong dark. Every light was off. Only candles. Dozens of them, arranged in circles around her desk, around her chair, around her. The walls behind her looked different. I leaned closer to the screen. At first, I thought it was shadow. Then I realized words written over and over. Yes, 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 hundreds of times. Different sizes, different pressure. Some faint, some dug deep enough to expose drywall beneath paint. It wasn't decorative. It wasn't chaotic. It was obsessive, like someone had carved consent into the walls until the room itself agreed. "Emily." My voice felt small in my own ears. "What did you do?" She smiled softly, not excited, not manic, peaceful. He helped. The pencil was already balanced on the paper, but the paper was different too. Under yes and no were dozens of faint scratch marks forming shapes, letters, half letters, curves, almost words. The air around her shimmered faintly, like heat distortion. But her breath fogged thick in front of her face. It looked like January in that room. "Josh," she whispered gently, "don't ruin this." "I'm coming over." "No." Her voice sharpened. "He doesn't want you here." The candles flickered violently, all at once, like something had just exhaled across them. Behind her, the darkness moved. Not a glitch, not static. It leaned. Tall, too tall, its outline separating slightly from the wall like oil peeling off water. My heartbeat slammed against my ribs. "Emily," I whispered, "what's behind you?" She didn't turn. She didn't need to. "He's here." The pencil began to tremble on its own. She hadn't said his name. She hadn't asked a question. But it rotated anyway. "Yes, yes, yes," spinning between the word like it couldn't choose just once. "He's excited," she murmured. Her eyes weren't focused on the paper. They were lifted slightly above it, like someone standing in front of her was just taller than her line of sight. "Charlie," she whispered, voice soft and intimate. "Are you happy?" The pencil slammed to yes so hard it tore through the paper. The scratching sound was violent, aggressive, like claws on bone. "Charlie," she breathed. The air pressure shifted. I felt it in my own apartment. My ears popped painfully. The lights in my room flickered in sync with hers. And then I heard it. Not through her mic, not through my speakers. In the room with me, a low inhale, wet, heavy, close. "Josh." I ripped my headphones off. But the whisper didn't stop. It didn't need the call. It was in my apartment too. I turned slowly. The corner of my bedroom looked darker than it ever had before. Not shadowed, occupied. And for the briefest second, I saw two darker pits inside that darkness, like eye sockets carved into night. I turned back to the screen. Emily leaned closer to the paper. "Charlie, do you love me?" The pencil didn't hesitate. "Yes." Her lips trembled. Tears gathered in her eyes. "I love you too," she whispered. The candle flames leaned inward, all of them, toward her, toward the space in front of her face, like something was standing inches away, pulling oxygen toward itself. The distortion in the air grew stronger, like heat waves, but the room was freezing. I could see frost creeping along the edge of her desk. Actual frost, spreading thinly like spider webs. "Emily, stop!" I shouted. She didn't look at me. She tilted her head slightly, like someone had touched her cheek, and then she smiled in a way I had never seen before. Devoted, reverent, possessed. "Charlie, Charlie," she whispered softly. Her voice shook. "Happy New Year." The clock in the corner of my screen read 11:59:42. The pencil began rotating wildly. The scratching sound became unbearable. It wasn't just on the paper anymore. It sounded like it was inside the walls, inside the room, inside my head. "Josh," she said gently. Her eyes finally flicked toward the camera, but they didn't look like they were seeing me. They looked far away, deep, pulled. "He says this is the moment." 11:59:57. The air in my apartment went ice cold. My breath fogged thickly. 3 knocks echoed from my closet, 3 more from my bedroom door, 3 from the wall behind my desk, all in perfect rhythm. 11:59:59. Emily leaned forward. The distortion in front of her thickened into shape, and for one long, impossible second, I saw it clearly. Towering over her, its head almost brushing the ceiling, arms hanging too low, fingers brushing the floor, its mouth opening wider than a human face could allow, and where eyes should have been. Depth, endless depth. 12 o'clock. The world seemed to hold its breath. Emily closed her eyes and whispered, "Charlie, Charlie, I love you. Let's kiss." I screamed, "Emily, don't." The candles went out. Every single one, simultaneously. Total darkness. The screen filled with static. Through the static, I heard a sound. Not a kiss, not skin on skin, an inhale, long, satisfied, and then her chair crashed backward. The camera hit the floor. The image tilted sideways. All I could see was the lower half of her room. Shadows moving, stretching, something dragging across the carpet. Heavy, wet. And then silence. Absolute silence. "Emily!" I screamed into the mic. Nothing. No breathing, no movement. Just the faint hum of the connection. Then, the camera flickered once, and I saw it. Standing where she had been, facing the camera, facing me. Its hollow gaze fixed on my screen. It leaned forward slowly, too close, too intimate. And in a voice layered over hers, it whispered one word. Mine. The call disconnected. My screen went black. The knocks in my apartment stopped. The cold vanished instantly, like it had never been there. I sat frozen for a full minute. Then, I ran. I don't remember grabbing my keys. I don't remember the drive. I just remember pounding on her apartment door with shaking fists. It was unlocked. Inside, dark. No candles, no frost, no words on the wall. The paint was clean, fresh, like nothing had ever been written. Her desk was overturned, the paper torn. The pencil snapped in half. Her phone lay cracked on the floor. But Emily was gone. No blood, no broken window, no forced entry, no signs of struggle, just absence, cold absence, and in the air, that faint metallic smell, like a storm waiting to break. I called her name until my throat burned. No answer. Behind me, deep inside the apartment walls, I heard 3 slow knocks, and I knew. She hadn't been taken. She had stepped through. She had said yes. After the yes, the police came at 1:17 a.m. I remember the time because I was sitting on the kitchen floor, staring at nothing, when the knock hit the front door. 3 taps. For a split second, my heart stopped, but the 4th knock came differently, heavier, impatient. "Police, open up!" I staggered to my feet and let them in. 2 officers, flashlights, gloves, routine questions. They searched the apartment, closet, bathroom, under the bed. They found nothing. No blood, no forced entry, no sign she had even left in a hurry. Her coat was still on the hook, her shoes still by the door, her wallet still on the counter. "Are you sure she didn't leave before you got here?" one officer asked. "I saw her," I said. My voice sounded hollow, even to me. "I saw her on camera." He glanced at his partner. "Camera footage?" "Discord. She was on a call with me. Then she was just gone." They exchanged that look. The one professionals give when they've already decided what category you belong in. Shock, delusion, grief. One of them walked into her bedroom. A moment later, he came back out. "It's cold in there," he muttered. "It was freezing," I said quickly. He shook his head. "Thermostat says 72. I didn't argue. Because it didn't matter, they didn't see the frost that had crept across her desk. They didn't see the distortion in the air. They didn't see the thing that leaned down when she said she loved it. They didn't hear the inhale. They couldn't. Because they weren't invited. Emily was listed as a missing person the next day. Her photo went online. Brown hair, soft smile, warm eyes. The girl I used to know. Friends shared posts. Family called me. News stations ran a short segment. 23-year-old woman missing under suspicious circumstances. Suspicious. They had no idea. They searched the building, questioned neighbors, checked security cameras. No one saw her leave. No one entered. No one heard anything unusual, except for one neighbor downstairs, an elderly woman. She told police she heard furniture scraping around midnight and something like heavy footsteps. But when they asked her to clarify, she said maybe it was just fireworks, because it was New Year's. Fireworks. That's what everyone blamed the distant booming on. Fireworks, not the sound of something enormous shifting its weight in a second-floor apartment. The first week without her felt unreal, like I was walking inside someone else's life. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart leapt. Every time a shadow stretched wrong across a wall, my breath caught. At night I dreamed of the hallway from the video, the one she stood in. Peeling paint, flickering light, a door slightly open at the end, and behind it, darkness, breathing. Sometimes in the dream, she would stand there, looking at me. Sometimes she'd smile. Sometimes she'd cry. But every time, something stood behind her, close enough that its shadow swallowed hers. On the 7th night after she vanished, I woke up at exactly 3 a.m. Not gradually, not groggy, fully awake, like someone had shaken me. My room was dark, but not completely. There was a faint outline in the corner, tall, too tall. My heart slammed in my chest. I reached for my lamp. The second my fingers brushed the switch, 3 knocks hit my bedroom door. Slow, evenly spaced. The sound echoed too deep for wood. It sounded like it came from inside the wall. "Stop," I whispered. Silence. Then, 3 knocks again. Closer. As if whatever was making them had leaned its head against the door, listening. I didn't move, didn't breathe. And then, very softly, from the other side of the door, "Josh." Her voice, weak, thin, like it had traveled through miles of earth to reach me. Tears burned behind my eyes. "Emily," I whispered. The silence stretched long enough to hurt. Then a second voice overlapped hers, deeper, layered, close to the wood. "He's awake." The door handle turned slowly, not fully, just enough to rattle. Then it stopped. 3 knocks again, and then nothing. The air warmed slowly. My room returned to normal, but I didn't sleep again that night, because I understood something I hadn't before. It wasn't just that she had said yes, it was that I had been there, I had watched. And witnessing is a kind of participation. Weeks turned into months. The official investigation slowed. Posters faded. Search efforts thinned. People moved on, but I didn't. Because the knocks never stopped. They weren't constant. They were strategic. 3 taps at random times. Sometimes in the wall, sometimes in the closet, once under my bed. That night, I froze completely. The knock came from beneath me, 3 slow taps against the wood slats. I didn't look, I couldn't. Because if I looked, if I bent down and checked, that would be acknowledgement. And acknowledgement felt too close to invitation. The worst part wasn't the fear, it was the messages. They started subtle. At first, it was just glitches. Her Discord account showing active now for a second, then disappearing. I convinced myself it was a server delay, a bug. But then, one night in March, I received a notification. Emily, typing. I stared at my phone for a full minute. The typing indicator appeared, stopped, appeared again, stopped. My hands were shaking. Then the message came through. 1 word, yes. I felt my stomach drop. 3 knocks echoed from my closet. Slow. Patient. Like something celebrating, I typed back. Emily? The 3 dots appeared instantly. Then, do you miss me? Tears blurred my vision. Where are you? Typing. Paused. Typing again. With him. My room went cold. Breath fogged. The corner darkened. And then, a photo came through. It was grainy. Low light. The hallway, the same hallway from my dreams. Peeling paint, flickering bulb, and at the end, the door slightly open. Inside the doorway, a silhouette. Tall. And next to it, a smaller shape, standing still, looking toward the camera. My heart stopped. It was her, thinner, paler, eyes too wide. The message beneath the photo read, "He wants you here too." 3 knocks. From every wall, at once. I didn't respond. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked. The screen glitched, but the message remained. "He wants you here too." That night, I heard something new. Not knocking, not whispering. Footsteps. Inside my apartment. Slow. Heavy. Measured. Crossing from the living room to the hallway. Stopping outside my bedroom door. Breathing. Wet. Satisfied. And then, 3 taps. Gentle. Almost affectionate. I didn't answer. I didn't move. Because I finally understood the truth. It doesn't break in. It waits. It asks. It tempts. It knocks. And every knock is a question. Yes or no. It's 2026 now. 3 years since she vanished. The case is cold. Her family barely speaks to me. They think I drove her away. They think I'm unstable. Maybe I am. Because last night, at exactly midnight, my laptop turned on by itself. The screen filled with static. Then slowly cleared. The hallway appeared again. The door at the end creaked open, wider than before. Inside, darkness shifting, breathing. And then, she stepped forward. Emily, standing in the doorway, looking straight at me. Her mouth moved slowly. No sound at first. Then, through my speakers, layered, distorted. You watched. Behind her, the tall silhouette leaned closer, its hollow gaze fixed on the camera, on me. And she whispered, "Now, answer." 3 knocks echoed from inside my walls, all around me, waiting. The door that opens from both sides. The hallway stayed on my screen long after I should have closed the laptop. I couldn't move. I couldn't blink. Emily stood in the doorway, pale and thin, her skin almost gray under the flickering bulb. The light above her swung slowly, though there was no visible wind. Every time it shifted, her shadow stretched unnaturally long along the peeling walls. Behind her, it, taller than before, clearer, its shape no longer blurred by static. Its arms hung too low, almost brushing the floor, fingers flexing slowly like it was getting used to gravity. My speakers crackled. "You watched," Emily repeated. Her voice wasn't just layered anymore. It was hollow, like something was speaking from deep inside her chest, using her mouth as an opening. 3 knocks echoed from my closet, 3 from my bedroom door, 3 from the wall behind my desk, perfectly synchronized. "Now answer," she whispered. My hands were frozen on the edge of my desk. "What do you want?" I managed to choke out. The image flickered. The hallway bulb burst for half a second, plunging everything into darkness. When it flickered back on, Emily had stepped forward, closer. Her eyes were wrong, too glossy, too still. "He says the door is thinner now," she said softly. The tall shadow behind her leaned slightly to the side, as if peering around her shoulder to see me better. "He says you're almost ready." My apartment temperature plummeted. I could see frost forming at the edge of my laptop screen, not metaphorical. Actual crystals spreading like veins. I stood up slowly. "Emily, come back." Her lips curved into something that used to be a smile. "I can't." The hallway behind her began to stretch, not physically, visually, like perspective was bending. The doorframe widened. The darkness inside deepened, and I realized something terrifying. That wasn't just a video feed, it wasn't just an image, it was a view, like looking through a window, and the window was open. 3 knocks came again, but this time, they weren't coming from my walls. They were coming from my laptop, from inside the speakers, from inside the hallway on the screen. The tall figure lifted one long arm and pressed its hand against the inside of the doorway, its fingers bent at too many angles. The wood around it warped, like it was soft, like the frame wasn't built for something that size. "Josh," Emily whispered, softer now. "He says you can step through." My stomach dropped. "No." The word felt small in my mouth. The screen glitched violently. Static crawled over her face. For a second, I saw what was underneath. Not skin, not muscle, shadow, layered darkness moving beneath her like something swimming under thin ice. The glitch ended. Her face was normal again, but her smile was wider. "He says don't say no," she whispered. 3 knocks, louder, from everywhere at once. My bedroom door shook violently. The closet door rattled. The walls trembled. The laptop screen brightened until the hallway filled my entire field of vision. The distortion grew so strong it felt like depth, like if I leaned forward, I would fall. The tall figure stepped closer behind her, its hollow eyes locked onto mine. And then it spoke, not in whispers, not layered, directly, clear, ancient. Yes. The sound vibrated through my bones. Not a command. A statement. As if the decision had already been made. I stumbled backward. My heel caught on the rug and I fell hard onto the floor. The laptop crashed down beside me. The screen cracked, but the hallway remained visible through the fractured glass. Emily tilted her head slightly. The tall figure leaned closer behind her, its face nearly touching the back of her skull, its mouth opening wider than a jaw should allow. "You belong to what you witness," it said calmly. The knocks stopped. Complete silence fell over the apartment. The hallway on the screen began to shift. The peeling walls dissolved. The flickering bulb vanished. And suddenly, I saw something else. Not a hallway. A space. Endless. Dark. Like standing in the middle of a massive room without walls. And floating inside it, shapes. Dozens. Hundreds. Silhouettes. Thin. Still. Human-shaped. Watching. Each one with hollow eyes. Each one unmoving. Emily was just one of them, standing near the front. The tall figure behind her wasn't separate. It was larger, but it was the same kind of thing, just older. just fed. My breath caught painfully in my chest. "They all said yes," Emily whispered. Her voice no longer sounded sad. It sounded resigned. "They all watched." The silhouettes shifted slightly, not stepping, just turning. All of them. Facing me. The tall one extended its hand toward the screen, and for the first time, the image broke containment. A thin crack appeared in the air above my laptop. Not on the glass. In the space itself. Like reality had fractured. Cold air poured from it, smelling like damp earth, like something underground. The crack widened, just a little. A long, shadowed finger slipped through. It bent at the wrong angles. Reaching. Testing. I scrambled backward across the floor. "Stop!" I screamed. The finger retreated slowly. The crack sealed. The screen flickered violently. The hallway reappeared for a split second. Then the image cut to black. My laptop died completely. The apartment returned to normal temperature. The walls stopped trembling. The doors stopped shaking. Silence. I lay there on the floor for what felt like hours, staring at the dark ceiling, trying to breathe, trying to understand. It wasn't hunting randomly. It wasn't attacking people who played the game. It was collecting witnesses, people who saw, people who believed, even for a second, people who answered, or almost answered. I rolled onto my side slowly, and that's when I saw it, on my bedroom wall, above the carved yes, above mine, above refused, a new word, carved deeper than the others. Almost. I felt something inside my chest crack. Not physically. Something else. Like a thread pulling tight. I understood then. Saying no wasn't freedom. It was delay. Because I had leaned forward. Because I had watched. Because I had almost typed yes. And almost was enough. 3 soft knocks echoed gently from inside my closet. Not violent. Not angry. Patient. I didn't move. Because now I knew the truth. The door doesn't open when you say yes. The door opens when you believe it can, and once you've seen what's on the other side, it never fully closes again. The closet door creaked slowly, just a crack, cold air spilling out, and from inside the darkness, Emily's voice whispered softly, "Josh," followed by a second voice, calm, satisfied, "Soon." I didn't close the closet door. That's what you expect in stories like this. The desperate rush, the slammed wood, the chair wedged under the handle. But I didn't move, because by then, I understood something far worse than fear. It wasn't trying to break in. It was trying to make me move first. The closet door stayed cracked open, just enough to leak cold into the room. The air spilling out wasn't like winter air. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't fresh. It smelled like still water. Like a basement that had been sealed for decades, and beneath that, something metallic, like blood left too long in the air. "Josh," her voice again, soft, close, not echoing, not distorted. It sounded like she was standing inside the closet, inches behind the door. My throat tightened painfully. "Emily?" There was a pause, long enough to feel intentional, then, "Yes." Not layered, not distorted, just her voice, and that single word hit harder than anything else had. Because that was how this started. Yes. My breathing grew shallow. I said no. I whispered. The closet door shifted slightly wider, a slow scrape across the carpet. "You said no." Her voice agreed gently. A second voice overlapped it. Lower. Warmer. Almost. The words seemed to vibrate through the walls. 3 knocks echoed from inside the closet. But this time, they didn't come in sequence. They came back. 3 from inside. 3 from my bedroom door. 3 from the wall behind me. Call and response. Like something answering itself. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. "You don't need to open it," Emily whispered from the darkness. My eyes burned. "I'm not opening anything." "You already did." The air pressure shifted suddenly. My ears popped. The closet door didn't swing open, but the darkness inside it deepened, thickened, until it didn't look like a closet anymore. It looked like space. Endless. Black. I could see movement in it, not forms, not shapes, depth, like staring into the night sky and realizing the stars are too far apart. "Josh," she whispered, "don't be afraid." The worst part wasn't the voice. It was the tenderness. Like she wasn't trapped, like she wasn't suffering, like she had chosen something and was trying to convince me to choose it too. "You were lonely," she said softly. I flinched. "What?" "You were watching me drift away," she continued. "You felt it before I did." Her words felt too precise, too intimate, like something had studied me, studied us. The darkness in the closet shifted again, and this time I saw her. Not stepping out, not fully, just her face, emerging slowly from the black, paler than before, eyes wide, unblinking, her mouth slightly parted. "Josh," she whispered, "I don't feel cold anymore." My chest tightened painfully. "Come back." She smiled, faintly. "I can't." The shadow behind her moved closer, not separate from her, inside her, like something tall was standing in alignment with her spine. "I'm not alone," she said gently. 3 knocks echoed from beneath my bed, 3 from inside the walls, 3 from inside my chest. My heart skipped, then thudded violently. The darkness pulsed, and for the first time, I saw more than just her face. I saw others behind her. Not clearly, just faint outlines, standing in that endless dark space. Dozens, maybe more, still watching, each one human-shaped, each one hollow-eyed. "They were scared too," she whispered. "They said no too." My stomach dropped. "They said no," the deeper voice repeated calmly. "But they stayed." The closet darkness rippled outward slightly, and I realized it wasn't trying to drag me in. It was expanding, growing into my room, into my space, like water seeping under a door. My phone vibrated suddenly on the floor beside me. The screen lit up. Discord notification. Emily. Video call. I stared at the cracked screen. It rang once, twice, 3 times. 3 knocks echoed from the closet in sync with each ring. "Answer," her voice whispered from inside the dark. My hands trembled violently. If I answered, was that consent? Was that the final yes? The call stopped. Silence. Then the screen changed on its own. The video opened by itself. The hallway appeared again, but this time it was closer. The peeling walls felt tighter, the flickering light harsher, and the door at the end wide open. Inside it, that endless darkness. The tall figure stood in the doorway. Not smoke, not shadow. Solid, but wrong. Too tall. Limbs too long. Head tilted, studying me. Emily stood beside it. Not crying, not struggling. Just watching. "You see it now," she said softly. The figure raised its hand. Not grabbing, not forcing. Waiting. 3 knocks echoed. From my closet, from my door, from the laptop speakers. Perfectly timed. "Josh," Emily whispered, "it's easier than you think." The cold spread across the floor, frost crawling toward my feet. "You don't disappear," she said gently. "You expand." The tall figure's mouth opened, too wide. When it spoke, its voice wasn't distorted. It was calm. "You have already crossed." My heart slammed. "No! You have already seen." For 1 second, I saw myself in the hallway, standing beside them, hollow-eyed, still, watching. The image snapped back. "You believed," Emily whispered. And that was the truth. The moment the pencil first moved, I believed. And belief is the real invitation. The closet door creaked wider. Darkness spilling into the room. Not grabbing, not forcing, just present, waiting. 3 soft knocks, almost affectionate. "Josh," she whispered a nay. "Say yes." The word hung in the air. Yes. Not a word anymore. A doorway. The frost touched my feet. It didn't burn. It pulled, like gravity had shifted. "You loved me," Emily said, "and love is consent to follow." 3 knocks echoed again, this time from inside my chest. The hallway on the laptop moved closer. As if I was standing at the threshold, the tall figure stepped back, making space. "You're not being taken," Emily whispered. "You're being welcomed." Behind her, hundreds of silhouettes, all still, all watching. Every one of them had leaned forward once. Every one had been curious. "Do you want to stay?" the figure asked softly. "Or do you want to see?" My phone buzzed. Unknown number, 1 message. "Do you want to see the truth? Yes or no?" The cursor blinked. The knock slowed. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3. I understood something terrible. It doesn't need you to say yes. It only needs you to wonder what happens if you do. And I had never stopped wondering. The frost reached my knees. The darkness filled the room. The hallway merged with my apartment. Emily smiled. The figure leaned closer, and I leaned forward too. Just slightly, just enough. The screen went black. The frost vanished. The closet slammed shut. My apartment returned to normal. Warm, still, empty. I sat there shaking, alive. For a second, I thought it was over. Then 3 soft knocks echoed from inside the wall. Not aggressive, not urgent, waiting. Because the question never ends. It only changes rooms. They found my apartment empty the next morning. No blood, no forced entry, no struggle, just absence. And carved into the bedroom wall, 4 words. He said yes. If the pencil ever moves, don't ask if it loves you. Don't ask if it's there. Don't ask if it's watching. Because it is. And once you lean forward, even a little, you've already answered.